Hi, I'm Shakyra LaShae, Revenge the Fashion Magazine. I'm at the 13th Street Repertory Company with the founder and artistic director, Miss Edith O'Hara. How are you this evening?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you.
It is such a pleasure to be sitting next to you. I hear that you will be 94 next month.
That's correct. February 15th.
Oh, wow. Well, happy birthday from the Revenge family.
Almost a Valentine.
Oh, almost. Man, can you give us just some insight on how you found the company, what made you want to bring it to New York and
Yes, I'll have to tell you that I was born in the wilds of Idaho. Never heard the word theater. Growing up, my father had a logging camp, up in the mountains. And so it was all new to me when we had to move to town because there was no more school. The one-room school had 8 kids,
wow.
all sixth grades put together. So we moved to town, and the teacher put me in a play. And I wound up playing George Washington.
Wait, George Washington is a man.
I know, but a little boy, none of the little boys were in the seventh grade were eager to be on the stage. So, it was young kids in it playing the older people, and I knew right then this is what I wanted to do. So I started, and then I went to college and studied, and I went to summer theaters, and after I got married, I started a children's theater in the town. And that was very, very encouraging and rewarding because I was working as a children's librarian, and they would come in to get books, and I noted they could use speech for, they could speak better, and I would teach them. And so I started teaching them how to speak and present themselves better. And then I decided I'll start a children's theater, and I'll teach them how to act if they want to do that and speak well and do what you need to do. And when I started that, I realized I like that better than acting. So providing a place for that and helping, encouraging, and that's what we do here. Our whole purpose here is to provide a place for people in the theater world to develop their craft, whether it's acting, directing, playwriting, tech, anything.
I heard you sent quite a few people over to Broadway, including your daughter.
I have 2 daughters who have had very successful theater lives.
Two.
And I want to say I was not a stage mother. That means that they're sending their kids and pushing them, why don't you do this, why don't you try out for that. They didn't take lessons, they didn't do anything. And I had 2 musically gifted kids and didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
But I would come to New York and bring them at Easter to do things. And my little daughter, Jill O'Hara, and my son I named John Jr., and he became Jack. So here I am with the Jack and Jill. But they would want to be at the Cafe Wall, the coffee houses,
Okay.
and because Richie Havens, Bob Dylan in the 60s were playing there. And one of the musicians began to realize these kids are avid about music, so he said to my son, you want to see how you play guitar? He'd never had an instrument in his hand. And he picked it up so fast the guy couldn't believe it. He showed him something else. So he said to me, your son is very talented. You should get him a guitar. So I got a guitar, and they took it back. Both taught themselves, no lessons.
Wow.
And daughter Jill had this gorgeously beautiful voice singing. I didn't know that. They heard her sing. They said, when you go out of high school, if you come to New York, you have a job right here.
Wow.
At the Cafe Wa. So I let her do that. And the next thing you know, she got the lead in Hair when it
Oh,
opened
I
at the
love
Public
it.
Theater before it moved to Broadway. And
Wow.
and when it was Joe Papp started it in his Public Theater there. And so when it moved to Broadway, Jill did not go with it because they were adding nudity, and she didn't want to do that.
Okay.
But then she got a part in the Broadway musical George M., musical about George M. Cohan. So that was her first Broadway play. And then she got a Tony nomination in Promises, Promises.
Oh my.
Burt Bacharach wrote the music for that.
Oh my gosh. So who are some other
Jenny, who loved theater from the word go in high school, would apprentice every summer in a summer theater nearby. And then when she went to college, she got a scholarship at Carnegie. At the end of that summer, she got a summer theater apprenticeship. And by then, they liked her so much and she knew so much. They hired her, and she got her equity card, and she became. Now she works in L.A. and she's in the new movie called Devil.
Okay.
She had a recurring role on King of Queens, and she works all the time.
Oh yeah, King of Queens is hilarious.
So that's the way it is.
Oh
And, you
my.
know, something of interest at this moment is after I started the Children's Theater, then I started Summer Theater. We bought a farm, converted it near Warren, Pennsylvania, where we lived. And on dark nights, the actors would be performing and doing their own things, making up everything. And I looked at them and I realized they had a lot of talent there. So I said to them, maybe you could work through the winter, create an original production. If it works out, we'll put it on as a special event. They did that. I didn't go near them. I didn't say, what's it about? Let me see it. Nothing.
Right.
Just bring it in the spring, and the directors and myself will look at it, and if it's something we can do. And the reason I'm telling you about this is very current because we opened it. It was a huge hit. So I had a children's theater going, and I realized the little kids could use help with speech and diction. And I realized when I did that I preferred having a place and providing a theater and helping people learn their craft. So that's what we stand for here now. But what brought me to New York was we created an original production. The actors in the theater were very talented, and I said to them, maybe you could work on something and put a play together. If it's good, we'll put it on as a special event. Right. You have to have well-known things. And they did that, and they created a beautiful, beautiful little musical called Touch. Mm-hmm. And people came up and wanted to bring it to New York. They had a theater, this man on East 4th Street. Mm-hmm. I have a theater. I have grant money, bring your actors, we'll do it together. And the reason I'm talking about it now is it was a big hit, and that brought me to New York. And when it closed after a year's run, I decided to find myself a theater in New York City. It took a whole year. And then in 72, Touch ran 70 to 71, and then 72, and Admiral Billy Du Bois said, building for lease, contains small theater, and I signed the lease and ran my theater.
And here we
Ever
are.
since then, 39 years now.
Wow, patience.
But the reason relevant about how I got here is we decided this year to bring back Touch.
Okay.
And it's in rehearsal right now. Mm-hmm. And here we always do original plays only.
Okay.
So, with the exception of Israel Horwitz's play Line, which has the outstanding thing of being the longest-running off-Broadway play in the history of New York City.
I hit 37 years.
And now it's 38.
Wow, right, it's 2011.
Mm-hmm.
That is...
And last year was the first year that we decided we would like to celebrate Black History Month by making an all African American cast of Line, and that's why we're doing that because February is that.
Right.
But we have another historical aspect to our building. We found that it was an Underground Railroad stop here.
Oh, wow.
And it's in the back where the dressing room is. You see, this was a brownstone, or living quarters for people, a family.
Okay.
And then there was a big lawn, which is where the seats and the stage are. And then behind that is a little brick house with the carriage house was underneath, which they closed and it became a basement. Mm-hmm. And we stepped into the ceiling of that is our floor in the dressing room. And there is a trap door in that floor and staircase that goes down, and that's where they hid the slaves.
Oh my, that's a lot of history.
Yeah. So it's very important, that was there. But Line, Israel Horwitz lived 2 blocks away, and he would be here all the time with us, and he's a very famous playwright. Mm-hmm. And we just got it started, and we just loved playing it, and the actors loved it. And so we just keep it going.
Now, understand, last year you had an amazing birthday present. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, listen, I was absolutely floored. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was a wonderful party already. They found people who had been in the original play, the first play we ever did, brought them back, and it was just wonderful. And then they had something for me at the end they gave me, and it was a proclamation from the city saying how much me personally and my theater had done for the city of New York. I just couldn't believe it. This big proclamation.
That's a big gift.
And they said that February 15 would be Edith O'Hara Day in New York City.
Okay, so you have your own day. Wow.
That was such a surprise. I was stunned.
Oh my.
But they're planning a lot of fun for this one too. So.
Okay, so you ready? You have your birthday dress and everything?
Sure.
Well, Edith, thank you so very much. It's such a pleasure sitting here talking to you, getting the history of the building and your life. I mean, you're such a talented woman, and your kids, you must be really proud.
Well, I really am, and I wasn't a stage mother, as I told you. They did it because they wanted to do it. And
I'm sure it helped that you were their mom.
So I'm behind you if you want to do it, and I'll do everything I can. But I wasn't, stage mothers. They're the worst.
Pushy.
They're the worst, because if a little kid is being sent out all the time and taking lessons, and then they don't get a part, they'll feel like they disappointed their mother, they disappointed their family, they disappointed themselves, and
I'm sure you mean a lot to your children and anyone else who has, I mean, the potential or the heart and the drive to want to work here as well. It's got to be just a tremendous experience to be able to work with you. So I've had fun just in here talking to you. So thank you so very much.
Very welcome. We appreciate any attention we can get to make the public aware of what we're doing.
Okay, well, we'll be back.
I'm sure you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, I'm Shakyra LaShae, Revenge the Fashion Magazine.